Mac, I woke up this wonderful morning to the
Oh,
sound of running water, heavy
from
running water.
from where?
So I went ahead and walked towards my bathroom when
Yep.
my son, my 3-year-old son, was standing outside of the bathroom.
Mhm.
And I just said, Raph, what's going on? And he said, toilet's leaking. I walked
Oh,
over. The
no. What did he
entire
put?
floor was just drenched, flooded in water as
Oh,
he put
no.
the entire roll of toilet paper down the drain.
Oh, man. That is not great. That's not great.
Now,
I am assuming the light fixture below in the first floor where your relative lives was leaking.
you are absolutely correct. The
Mm.
downstairs was leaking from the ceiling in the bathroom.
We
I'll tell
get
you
these
what, man.
calls all the time, by the way. We get 911 calls for water leaks like that because oftentimes they're not in a scenario where like they're close with a neighbor. They call because they get water coming from their roof, and we gotta go in there.
I'll tell you what, man. Being a parent is tough.
Now, did you catch it quick enough that you don't have to tear down the roof below, or is it gone? The
It's
ceiling, I
okay
should
for
say.
right now. It's
Yeah,
something we have to keep an eye on.
yeah,
But,
because
you
that
know,
that insulation is gonna be real moist, real moist.
3-year-olds, real tough age.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you on
Most
that.
parts of my day, I'm at wit's end.
Now, did he tear off clumps and put it in, or did he just put the whole roll in the toilet
All he told me was that he put the whole roll in the toilet,
and then
or he put
flush?
the one in there and he just let it go, which I
Mm.
would assume is the fun way to do it.
Do you remember when I think we were 15 in
Mm,
Montreal, Quebec,
yeah.
and we were wetting whole rolls of toilet paper and throwing them from the 20th floor of the hotel, and they were hitting the ground like a fucking bomb. That was very dangerous. We could have like actually seriously injured someone. A wet roll of toilet paper has got to be what, a pound? That would
More
maybe
than
two.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe 2 pounds. That would really injure someone.
But for those of you out there, now I get it. I get it. It's I don't know what to do at most points in my day.
You're gonna have to start putting a lock in the bathroom, huh?
So what I've been told, my wife decided this,
Mhm.
is that we're gonna hide the toilet paper. But what's gonna happen to me is when I'm, taking a shit,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna know where it is.
That's a word. I feel like put a latch high up on the outside of the door, and when you go to bed at night, put that thing on.
No, because we're also trying to teach him to, when he has to go to the bathroom at night, to get up and go to the bathroom. It's a real
Hmm.
catch-22 right now.
Right, right. Well, then he's gonna be looking for the toilet paper too.
Everybody send me suggestions and tell me how to parent.
This is a tough one for sure.
I'm thinking, like, leave a couple squares out or something. Not a square to spare.
Oh man, I don't know what that solution. It is not a problem I have encountered in my life. I'll think about it when we get off here and offer my
Thank you.
own solution. That probably won't help at all, but I'll come up with something.
One goo, three yeah. Goo. Jaws three. Goo. King of Queens. Goo. Meryl Streep. Entertainment.
I'm Goo.
And I'm childless Mac.
Brag. We are the Mac and Goo program. I bring you friendship. I
Yeah.
bring you friendship. Mac is gonna shove things in your face.
Now that you say that, I can see it in your eyes. It feels like today's been a long day for you.
It has been a long day. Yeah.
Today, Goo,
Yeah.
we are discussing our 2024 March Madness bracket.
Mhm.
Of course, March Madness is upon us. Who you got winning it all, Goo? You got UConn, you got Houston. Did you fill one out yet?
I'm not gonna fill one out, but I am
Okay.
gonna pick one
right.
of the 16 seeds to beat a 1 seed.
Yeah, whoever's Purdue's playing, pick that one.
You got it.
We are coming off the heels of 3 episodes in which we gave you the 20 best movie villains from the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s, and we parlayed that into this, gave us 57 we had because there was 3 overlaps there, and then the extra 7 spots we divvied up amongst mostly 2020s villains, and we had 1 or 2 spillover from the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. So we have, of course, 4 regions of 16 villains here.
I'll tell you what, the math really worked out in the fact that for the 10-year spans, we gave 20, and then we said, oh crap, we need to fill in some blanks. We have 4 years of movies, technically 3, because I don't think 2021 is a real year anymore.
Yeah.
So we were
2020.
able to grab 7 great villains from these past couple years, and
6.
you're right, 6.
Mm.
But I feel like this is 6 from the past 3 years is the perfect amount. Because if we had a full decade, these 6, I think, would last the full decade.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. But I think your text when we were parceling it out a little bit, I think the top 4 for sure is like
Yes.
the top 4, and then there's some play with those final 2.
Top 4 as of now, and I hope by the end of the decade that we might get some better ones.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows if any of us will be alive by then? But
Will the Batman 2 come out before the end of the decade?
and again, if you have issues with this, the seeds don't really matter. Fucking vote for whoever you want to win. All of the margin between, the top of obviously great, but the margins between like the 5 and the 16 scenes are very close when you're talking about 64 villains here.
Also, this is very simple, so don't come at us with like, where's Darth Vader? Where's Hans Gruber? This is the best movie villains since the year 1990.
Yep.
No wiggle room.
Yep.
90 on, it's almost 35 years.
Also, if you're listening to this and didn't listen to our 3 episodes, you might want to go do that before you throw some at us. We talk about a lot of the missed ones or why certain people weren't on certain lists.
Yeah, if you're looking for a more in-depth look into all of these lists, go listen to the other ones. Also, give us a thumbs up, like, and subscribe.
You want to go from 16 to 1 here? Is that the way to do it here, Goo?
No, give me the matchup. We probably should have done this a little bit better, but it's still easy to do the matchup either way.
All right.
What are the regions, Mac?
Our 4 regions, titled half by me, half by Goo. They're not great. Admittedly, they're not great. We didn't try our best here with the region names. The first region is Too Real. Too Real. These are the villains that are so real, it sort of shakes you to your core. You could see them in everyday life, or they were based on an actual real human being. And then that's scary in and of itself. We have a comic fantasy category here, region, that honestly, there's some spillover in some other categories too. There were so many great comic book and fantasy movies over the last, 35 years that it was natural that was going to happen. Our third category is real son of a bitch, real SOB.
Yeah.
These are the people that, they just make you so angry. You want to punch them right in the nose.
I think this is my favorite region.
It's a good mix of characters for sure. That's absolutely for sure.
And all of them I truly hate. Like the other ones, I feel there's likable aspects about the character. They're fun. They're magnetic. These characters, I hate all of them.
They're just really bad guys.
Yeah,
really,
you want to slap
real SOBs.
Yeah.
And then our fourth and final region category here is, are we having fun yet? These are the this is the category where these villains are a little fun, They might be bad,
waitress,
but they're having fun with it. And in turn, the viewer has fun with it. These are, you laugh at these villains. That's what these ones are.
Or you're at least having fun. Like they're so big and crazy that you're like, this is a fun experience for all.
It'll work for all of us.
Yeah.
All right. Without further ado, let's run through the matchups in the Too Real region here. So should we go 8, 9 and out, or should we go 6?
No, let's go 8, 9 and out. 8, 9 and out.
Right.
I like
the
that.
8, 9 matchup is of 2 new villains from the 2020s. At 8, the Riddler, played by Paul Dano from the Batman, facing number 9, Robert De Niro's William Hale from Killers of the Flower Moon. Now, I know what you're going to say, Goo. The Riddler deserves to be in comic fantasy. However, he is the realest of all of those villains, and we have so many. I think he deserves to be in the real region.
Yeah, so I'm here to complain. First matchup, I think Riddler should be in the comics, and I think that William Hale should be in the SOB.
Yeah, I think you could argue for both of those. I'm not saying you're wrong. Listen, we got some spillover. It's natural when you get these many villains. That's an incredible 8-9 matchup. I can see people going either way there. Our 7-10 matchup is John Doe, played by Kevin Spacey from Seven, against Mal Cobb, played by Marianne Cotillard from Inception.
John Doe is going to take this one.
Oh, I like a nice 10/7 upset there.
Ooh.
Man, I'm telling you, Marion Cotillard is just, she scares me. She scares me way more than John Doe does. Our 6-11 matchup is Amy Dunn, played by Rosamund Pike from Gone Girl,
Yep.
against Michael Fassbender's Edwin Epps from 12 Years a Slave.
Another very good, realistic, two real villains. And if you want to look at, the horrors that Epps did, sure.
Yep.
But I feel like Amy Dunn is going to have a little run in this region.
If she gets by the slave owner there, she could definitely go on a run right there, because I could see her upsetting that 3 seed. For
But
sure.
also, if you want to focus on the real atrocities of life, then yes.
Yeah, we're okay with that as well. And great segue here, Goo. Our 5-12 matchup is Alonzo Harris, played by Denzel in Training Day, against Amon Goth. That is Ralph Fiennes' character from Schindler's List.
Yeah, really, guys.
Actual Nazi.
Vote however you want. I'm not going to tell you who's worse, but focus on the movie, focus on the characters, focus on the performance, focus how they make you feel.
Truth be told, I would have done a different fourth category. I don't know which one I would have gotten rid of, but I would have had a cool villain category.
I thought you were going to say I would have done a Nazis and slave owner one.
Yeah, we might have had enough for that.
Well, no, if you look at cinema history, yes, there are enough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those.
I would have started one based around Killmonger and Alonzo Harris, but alas, here we are. Our 4-13 matchup, Goo, is Anton Chigurh, played by Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men, facing off against Gary Oldman's Ivan Korshunov from Air Force One.
Yeah, I mean, no offense to any of the lower seeds of this two real region, but I would say 5 on up is just heavy hitters.
Yeah. Actually, man, you're right. I would say the lower 4 or 5 here are fucked, but that top 10 or 12 is absolutely
I think 4. I think definitely 4, especially if you're looking at Anton Chigurh against Ivan Korshunov. That's going to be a 90-10.
Tough draw for Anton in the second round against, in the Sweet 16 if he gets there against Hans Landa. A little spoiler alert for the number.
Those are the ones that I want to see, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Our 3-14 matchup is Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins, against Holly Jones, played by Melissa Leo in Prisoners.
I know that you love the 14 seed here, but not
probably on my personal list, she would have been a little higher here, but she's going to lose in the first round either way. Our 2-15 is Kathy Bates's Annie Wilkes from Misery versus another crazy bastard, Bobby De Niro, as Max Cady from Cape Fear.
I think Annie Wilkes will get by this first round, but she's going to have a difficult time as we tighten this up.
Yeah, 2 versus 7. If 7 gets there is John Doe. That's a tough one. And then our 1-16 matchup, I'm the captain now. Hans Landa, who might have actually been a captain.
I don't think he said that.
He might have been a captain. I don't know what his official title was in the
lieutenant, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Obviously, Christoph Waltz in Glorious Bastards. He's facing the 16 seed Abduwali Muse, played by Barkhad Abdi from Captain Phillips.
So I think dollars to donuts that Hans Landa is my all-time number 1 villain. But I think the people, he could run to the Sweet 16, maybe. I think he might have a Sweet 16 Elite 8.
I think we put 2 real and real SOB on one side and comic fantasy and fun on the other side. That's how I would do it. That way we give our chance for Hans Landa versus Thanos in the finals.
I don't think Hans Landa is going to make it out of this region, though.
You don't think so?
No, I think him and Annie Wilkes are both going to have a tough time with Hannibal Lecter, Anton Chigurh, and Alonzo Harris.
I think Hans Landa transcends every category.
I told you, he's my number 1 seed out of all 64 here.
Agreed. Totally agree on that one. So let's do real SOB next. You run through this one.
All right, let's go with the 8-9. And we have Billy the Butcher, played by Daniel Day-Lewis from Gangs of New York, against Commodus, my bad there. I put the little oomperson over the O.
Commode.
Played by Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiator. That'll be a nice little first round.
I actually like the 9 over the 8 there, I think. But there's a lot of DDL fans that might push it the other way.
Then you go at the 7 seed Scar from The Lion King 1994, voiced by Jeremy Irons, against the 10 seed Patrick Bateman, played by Christian Bale. And while I do think that the live action might have a bit of an edge over some of these animated characters, I think Scar might be an outlier when it comes to the animated villains.
I agree. And Scar scarred so many children that
Yes.
might carry him a long, long way in this region.
Let's go with the 6th seed, Catherine Murtaugh from Cruel Intentions, Sarah Michelle Gellar, against the 11 seed, Cal Hockley from Titanic, Billy Zane. And what doesn't help Catherine out is that I'm not sure of a real SOB she is, whereas Billy Zane's Cal Hockley is the perfect SOB. And I feel like if people look at the name of this region and say, who is the bigger son of a bitch here? They're going to say Cal Hockley.
That might be true. And it might also be true that Catherine Myrtle is more like a sex of the bitch, just real sexy, different S. But that might also carry her based on our listenership.
You can decide what SOB means to you.
Which villain you want to fuck the most? That's who we're talking about here.
That's what this has always been about.
Perfect segue into our next matchup of who you would want to have sex with.
The 5 seed, Calvin Candy, played by Leonardo DiCaprio in Django Unchained, against Koba, voiced by Toby Cabell, Rise and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I think that Calvin Candy is going to have a real easy walk here.
You're saying you don't want to have sex with an ape, is what you're saying.
I didn't say I didn't want to. I'm saying the people.
All right. Yep. Calvin Candy, I think, actually might be some people's favorite villain from this region. So I could see him going pretty far as well.
Whereas I feel like Candy might have had the same seeding in our ranking, but William Tavington, played by Jason Isaacs in The Patriot, really is just the absolute worst. I hate this guy.
I'll tell you, man, when he kills Heath Ledger in this movie, I would say outside of Jeremy Irons in Saving Private Ryan, this was the most I had ever been upset, like actually physically mad in a movie.
But I think he might be upset in the first round because he is up against a recent villain, and that is from the Dune movies, Baron Vladimir, played by Stellan Skarsgård.
He's obviously a little more subdued in the second movie, but I think actually my main takeaway on the rewatch of the first movie is he's a real son of a bitch. He's a fucking real asshole in that movie. And it's that scene where Oscar Isaac intends on killing him and he survives. It's a great scene. Great from there when he's in the fucking oil bath or whatever the fuck that is.
Let's go to the 3-14 matchup, and we have Terrence Fletcher, played by J.K. Simmons in Whiplash. Maybe some people might look at as being the realest out of all these, someone that you've encountered the most in your own life, of a coach or a teacher that pushes you a bit too far.
He could have been in the Too Real, I think, maybe.
Ernesto de la Cruz from Coco.
Could not have been in the Too Real, that's for sure. Hey, here's a question for you, Gu. I don't want to get too political here. Do you believe in ghosts?
Number one, don't be too poly charged.
Yeah.
As someone who, if there were ghosts, would be living in a haunted house right now, I don't think there are.
I also don't subscribe to ghosts. I don't like. I think I believe in science too much, and if science can't explain something, I probably don't believe in it. So ghosts would fall under that category.
I'm a huge fan of.
Call me a cuck if you'd like, but I'm not into ghosts.
I'm a huge fan of. My father is so into like the ghost hunting shows, and all
my
this
mom is all about this shit. Yeah,
that whenever he starts talking to me about it, I get up and leave. I don't even respond anymore. I don't care.
Do you know the show Long Island Medium?
No.
Teresa something. She's this like medium psychic lady that supposedly can speak to the dead. My mom is obsessed with that lady. She went and saw her live in Foxwoods like 5 years ago. I don't subscribe to any of it, and it like hurts my mom's feelings that I don't.
I just couldn't care any less. Where are we? Oh, I think that Terrence Fletcher might win 100%.
Yeah,
I love Ernesto de la Cruz. I think he's a great villain, but I don't think he stands a chance against what some people might say is their one seed.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And because Simmons has that sort of crossover that like
Mhm.
he is very real and a real son of a bitch, that
Yeah.
might play up.
Let me go to the 215. Missy Armitage slash the entire Armitage family in Get Out. Catherine Keener plays Missy, and they are up against Raul Silva, played by Javier Bardem in Skyfall. Another one that I think the Armitage might have a real easy path here on this one.
Yeah, and we're kind of helping out the audience there too, because you
Yeah.
can pick whichever member of the family, or I guess the whole family.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a unfair 4 versus 1 fight there. 5 versus 1?
Then
No, 4.
this next one's actually a pretty tough 116. Now, Bill, played by David Carradine from Kill Bill, had a real low seed because Mac did not have him high on his.
Didn't have him on the list. I haven't seen the Kill Bill
Right.
movies.
So that's the reason why he is so low here. But
16 seed you're talking about here.
I also feel, yeah, the 16 seed, but I also feel like our 1 seed, who is Warden Norton from the Shawshank Redemption, great name recognition with the movie, with the character played by Bob Gunton, still going to have, I think, an easy matchup.
Yeah, we talked about, or I talked about how I think I have Hans and Thanos as my top 2 seeds and maybe hope to see them in the championship. I think if I was ranking all 64 overall, number 3 might be a Warden Norton here.
Mhm.
Just the quintessential son of a bitch. It's the reason why that movie goes from great to all time is because he's such a great villain there. He just talking about wanting to punch a guy in the face. That's who old Robbie G is.
Who do you have coming out of this region?
I got Warden Norton. That a little bit biased in there. I think we could see Calvin Candy come out.
I was going to say, don't sleep on Calvin Candy. I think that Norton might have.
That would be a potential Sweet 16 matchup right there, too.
I didn't ask you. Did you already say that you think that Hans Landa is coming out of the 2 real character?
Yeah, I got Hans Landa coming out of 2 real. Yep.
I think Anton Chigurh in the 4 seed might.
I could see that. Maybe the winner of that matchup. That would be a Sweet 16 matchup right there.
Yeah. Hey, Mac, want to tell me who is in the comic fantasy region?
All right. Our comic fantasy region, our 8-9 matchup here is Ian. Oh, both Magnetos. That's what you did. I see. That was the 7 here. You combine the 2 Magnetos, Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender.
Oh, it's played by 2 different people. It's also 8-9 first.
Oh, they're the 7 seed, right? I might have kept those 2 separate, to be honest with you.
That's too late. I've already done it.
What are you going to do? Kicking off the comic fantasy region, our 8-9 matchup here, a second Ralph Fiennes entry, Voldemort from Goblet of Fire, which is where he first pops up as that full-bodied Voldemort, against the 9 seed, the Beast, played by James McAvoy from Split.
Depends on how involved the potheads get here, but Voldemort might go further than we expect.
Voldemort. Oh, so I guess this combines with his 2010s run,
yes,
too.
It's both.
So, yeah. So you're right. The potheads might push him up real high.
Don't get me wrong. It's a tough second-round matchup if he gets to play the 1 seed, but
if Voldemort takes down Thanos in round 2, I'm going to be real upset. I will not care for that, Goo.
Well,
I will not.
Huh?
If you read books, turn this off now. Our 7-10 matchup is Magneto, played by both Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender from the X-Men movies. And he is facing the 10 seed, Doc Ock, played by Alfred Molina in Spider-Man 2 and in Spider-Man Far From Home? No Way Home? No Way Home,
right? I'm smelling an upset.
Oh, that's not a big upset.
Not a huge upset, but do you like that little sounder?
Yeah, that's real on the fly there. You did that live. I don't know if anyone at home doesn't have the video portion of this.
I'm going to take that back. I don't like it.
All right, good enough. I actually think Magneto probably wins like 60-40 in that one.
I think people might have Magneto's kind of a good guy type of feeling to him. Like he has that dual side to his character, especially in like First Class.
You're right about that, but we're also combining the 2, and McKellen and Fassbender are so good that might carry him a couple
They're
rounds.
from the same continuity.
Our 6-11 matchup here, Kylo Ren, the 6 seed, played by Adam Driver, specifically from The Force Awakens, against our 11 seed, Gollum, played by Andy Serkis in the Lord of the Rings movies.
This is a good one.
Right, this is a good one. Right for an upset here, because
love this one.
As great as Kylo Ren was, the tail off there was brutal, and Lord of the Rings has a deep, deep following.
Ooh, I am feeling an upset with this next one.
Ooh, our 5-12 matchup
Yeah.
here, which is
A
surprising.
5-12 always has an
You're
upset.
right. You're
Yep.
right. Fifth seeded Adrian Toomes slash the Vulture, played by Michael Keaton, Spider-Man Homecoming,
Yep.
and Morbius. Against our 12 seed, Agent Smith from the Matrix movies, played by Hugo Weaving.
I would say that our 12 seed might be the more famous character.
I also feel like we have a little bit of blinders on here because we love Keaton so much,
Same.
and
Yep.
more so than the average person. That might be we might be blind on that one for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Our 4-13 matchup here. The 4 seed is the T-1000, played by Robert Patrick, and T2 against Bane, played by Tom Hardy in The Dark Knight Rises. This whole region is ripe for upsets.
This would be the one, though, that, like, I'm not as high on both of these characters as most people.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
I also do think that the T-1000 will take out Bane.
I think that Robert Patrick running is one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life.
Now is not the time, Poppy. That was me. It wasn't him.
Another live one. Our 3-14 matchup here,
Ooh.
the 3 seed. I think the cool, you know what? Alonzo Harris is the coolest one. Eric Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan from Black Panther, facing Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston from the Avengers, specifically because he was for sure a villain.
Once again, if we just had Loki from Thor 1, Avengers, and Thor 2, maybe we could see how this might sneak past.
Mm-hmm.
But now that people view Loki as kind of a hero,
for sure,
you know,
yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's made good on what he's done.
I think we accounted for that with the seeding too. Like, if you're just talking about villainous Loki, he's probably 5 spots higher than this, maybe right behind Voldemort.
Yeah.
Our 2-15 matchup here, and the 2 seed might be a lot of people's number 1 overall seed.
Yes.
And this is Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight against Jason Lee's Buddy Pine, aka Syndrome from The Incredibles.
I think that Buddy Pine / Syndrome got a real bad draw here, and I think he deserves way more credit. He is such a good villain. This is such a good voiceover, but he is going to get slaughtered.
As much as 3 through 8 were ripe for upsets, 1 and 2 here, ain't no way they're losing. Ain't no fucking way.
1 and 2 might have 100%.
That matchup, I'm not looking forward to, because I think the people are going to tell me Thanos loses, and I'm not going to be happy about it.
Because once again, I love Buddy Pine. The Incredibles great. I think that is such a great villainous character. But the Joker, like we've already talked about, I think the Joker comes out of this region and is going to have a real easy time here with this one.
Yeah, very, very well might come out of the region. Our 1-16 matchup. And by the way, I think the best thing you can say about Jason Lee's Buddy Pine is that's like the bar set for like voice actors in comic book movies, like for villains. Like, you want to be as animated as he was in that role. And speaking of a voice acting role, our 1 seed, or both actually, our 1 and 16 seeds here, Thanos, of course, voiced by and did the mocap of Thanos from Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, and spotted in a couple other movies, against the 16 seed, the Spot, voiced by Jason Schwartzman and Across the Spider-Verse. And this is, you might say maybe the Spot doesn't deserve it. I think he deserves it anyways from Across the Spider-Verse. And then when you consider what's going to happen in Beyond the Spider-Verse, I think it might even bump him up.
I think he's a bit of a TBD character. I would not have had him in here, but I'm okay with you putting him in. What are you going to do?
Good enough. I got.
He doesn't stand a chance. No one in that 16 seed stands a chance anyways.
Yeah, it really didn't matter who we put there. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I have Thanos coming out of this region, but I'm already afraid of the Joker beating him in that Elite 8 matchup, which I won't be upset about. I understand why that would be. I just think Thanos, if you're looking at the body of work, Thanos had a bigger impact, and the MCU paying all of that off is better than what the Dark Knight trilogy was. That's my 2 cents on it.
I think any of these top 4, may I call them a Mount Rushmore? Have a chance. I think all 4 of these have a chance, but I would say that the Joker is going to come out of this. Heath Ledger's Joker, not Jared Leto's Joker. Should I go to the last one here?
Yeah. I think that's what happens next.
I thought you were going to announce it. Like, let the people know that, hey, guys, Goo's here.
Goo!
Yeah.
Why don't you give the people our 4th and final region?
All right, the 4th and final region here is, are we having fun yet? Let's go to the 8-9 matchup. And added onto this list, we have the Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe, who was not only in the Spider-Man 2001 movie, but he also came back for 2021, which is the reason why I needed to have him on here. And if you say, wait a second, isn't he a comic book villain? True, but he's also a fucking cartoon.
Yeah,
he is
a literal cartoon.
He's a cartoon
for sure.
In those movies. I love him. I think he's great in No Way Home, though, and he is taking on Mugatu, played by Will Ferrell in Zoolander.
I love Mugatu, but Defoe's great, and there's so many comic book fans that actually Gabi might win this and the second round matchup. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gabi get into the Sweet 16.
The 7 seed that you made a push for is Jobu Tapaki. I keep saying Pataki, like
not Helga Pataki.
Like she is Bob's daughter. Like she is trying to sell beepers with a big white belt.
Helga Pataki is a great villain, just not.
She's an amazing villain. And when we eventually do the bracket of TV bullies, she's going to get right back on there. And Tapaki is taking on the 10 seed, and I think she might lose to Derek Huff, played by Adam Scott in Step Brothers.
I could see her losing to Derek Huff because he is fucking so good in that little cunty bully role. But Stephanie Hsu as Jobu Tupaki and Everything Everywhere All at Once was fucking incredible. And the more you think about it and the more you think about that movie, it's insane she was not nominated for that role. She acts.
And Jamie Lee Curtis got the
insane. Don't get me wrong. Jamie Lee Curtis was very good to great in her 10 minutes. Stephanie Hsu carries that movie for a long time. It blows my mind. And she's acting two different characters as well. It's just I can't get that deep.
And I love Everything Bagels. I really do. They're so good. But I do think that Huff is going to take this. Also, shout out to Adam Scott because the name of this region is from his Party Down character.
Oh, how about that?
It's his catchphrase when he was a commercial actor. It's like, hey, can you say the line? Are we having fun yet? Let's go on to the 6-11 matchup, and it is Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers movies 1, 2, and I Love Gold, played by Mike Myers.
Gold member just missed out on the list.
Cyrus the Virus Grissom from Con Air, John Malkovich. This will be an interesting one.
It is, for sure.
And I feel like it would have been an easy sweep if we included Fat Bastard and Goldmember.
John Malkovich is such a fun actor.
Yes.
Every role he takes on, he has so much fun with it. He's not as insane as Nicolas Cage, but he has as much fun as Cage does. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say he's a better actor, but he might be.
No, I think Cage is better.
Malkovich is. I always think about Malkovich's character in Rounders. Fucking incredible. But he's obviously great in Con Air. And I think that he beats Dr. Evil here.
Would I have put a glass eye to make my eyes crooked? Hell yeah. What a great Oscar presentation. Not even an Oscar speech.
So good.
Yes, let's go on to the 5-12 matchup. And this is a tough one because people love the actor in the 12. And the 12th seed is the Sheriff of Nottingham from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Alan Rickman. But
Alan Rickman.
That was fucking amazing. Holy shit. Wow, bud. When did you become what's his name there?
There you go.
Kevin Pollak. When did you become Kevin Pollak?
Kevin Pollak. I thought you were going to say
impressionist.
I thought you were going to say Will Sasso.
Oh, Will Sasso does not do impressions, but that's fine. You're thinking
Will
of Frank
Sasso
Caliendo.
No. You got to look up Will Sasso doing Jesse Ventura. It's incredible. Look, it's really good.
If you want to start doing Will Sasso impression off, we can do this. He does an amazing Kenny Rogers as well.
He does do an amazing Kenny Rogers.
This is Kenny Rogers, and this is Jackass, and he just drinks milk. What an amazing sketch. Mad TV had it was a real high floor, low.
Yeah.
Real high ceiling, low floor show.
But it gave us Will Sasso, Michael McDonald, Frank Caliendo, who plays
Randy
Lois.
Myers. It gave us Randy Myers.
Who voices Lois on Family Guy. She plays Bunny Swan.
What's her name there?
She's awesome.
From Miss Maisel too. I'm blanking on her
she's
name
so
now.
good. Mad TV for 2 or 3 years was probably as good as SNL until Will Ferrell took off.
Give
Then
me
it
the
superseded.
Mad TV musical parodies. They're all great.
Oh yeah, it had Ari Spears on there too.
Harry
Spears is great.
Spears. Yeah. By the way, the sheriff of Nottingham is up against the Wet Bandits / Sticky Bandits from Home Alone 1 and 2, Harry and Marv. And I think they, because we've combined them, might have this region.
Yeah, as a 5 seed, probably
Yeah.
the strong. Actually, Calvin Candy's a 5 seed too. A couple strong
Yeah.
5 seeds. I very well might have the Wet Bandits coming out of here.
The next one up here, I think, is going to be an upset. Wee. Sound the alarm.
Wow, live sounders are so good these days.
13th seed is Ernie McCracken from Kingpin 1996. The reason why he is so low is because Mac forgot to put him in his 1990s ranking.
Completely
And
forgot.
he is up against White Goodman, played by Ben Stiller in Dodgeball 2004.
I do think White Goodman is slightly better. They're pretty close, especially considering how far away the seeds are. Not enough people have seen Kingpin, though. That's going to be the issue here.
So while our 1 seed might also be a Ben Stiller character that Ben Stiller borrows a lot from for White Goodman, I would also say that what he makes up for with the rest of the White Goodman character is from Ernie McCracken.
Similar. Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty similar. You're right. Derivative for sure.
Mhm. So I'm gonna take that 13 seed.
All right. Well, I'm good with that.
Let's move on to the number 3 seed, another one who might move on from this region because the actor has just taken on this character as his personality, and that is Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore, Christopher McDonald.
Yeah, that's all Christopher McDonald does these days.
Oh, by the way, he's up against Papa Doc. Doesn't stand a chance.
Fuck the Free World 313. I don't
Wow.
care who Papa Doc was playing against. I was picking that person. Fuck the Free World. But Shooter McGavin, obviously, all-time great.
His name is Clarence. His parents have a real good marriage.
Anthony Mackie, by the way. I think in like 20 years, maybe 10, maybe even we'll look back in 10. Someone's going to be like, Anthony Mackie was incredibly underrated. I mean, we are 22 years from the release year of 8 Mile. And Anthony Mackie has played a lot of great characters. And no one ever mentions Anthony Mackie when they talk about like great actors. He's awesome.
Can you imagine stepping up to that mic and saying in your head, I hope no one knows the marital status of my parents? Because if they do, I'm going to lose this rap battle.
You know, my favorite line in Lose Yourself is best believe somebody's paying the Pied Piper. All the coming off the Mekhi Phifer. I don't know. When he crossed in between from the movie to real life stuff, I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Can we do a movie review of 8 Mile?
100% we can.
I often rewatch
do it
the
for my
final
birthday.
15 minutes. Oh,
Let's do it for my birthday. All
When's
right.
your birthday again?
May 12th.
The listeners are asking. I know when it is.
May 12th. I'm a Taurus.
Okay,
My birthstone is emerald.
Okay, so in May we are going to do 8 Mile again, and we're going to spend an awful long time on those rap battles.
I'm going to spend 15 minutes on the factory sex scene.
That's a great sex scene.
Great sex scene.
Also, one of my favorite lines of "Look at his boots; they're about to grow roots." And they didn't know how to come back from that.
I'll tell you, shout out Exhibit. That's all I'll say. Shout out Exhibit.
X to the Hibbit. The next one up here is the 215 seed. Let's go with the 15 seed first. Howard Payne from Speed, played by Dennis Hopper, the unsung villainous hero of the 1990s, going up against someone that could have been the 1 seed, and that is Regina George, played by Rachel McAdams in Mean Girls.
Nice. That's really good.
I know. Gross.
I think if the Harry Potter crowd comes and finds this voting block, that's not the word I was looking for.
No.
There are also going to be a lot of crossover with Mean Girls and Regina George. If that's the case, she's going to win this region. However, I like her to crush Dennis Hopper here.
And then the final seeding here, and you might have done this by accident, but you might have thrown off this entire region because the 16 seed might beat the 1 seed. And that is the 16 seed of Catwoman from Batman Returns, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. She was not in our top.
She didn't make our top 20. So what are you going to do?
Right. But the people are going to see this and vote for her over. Heavyweights is kind of a cult comedy classic, but it's not for everyone. Everyone hasn't seen it.
You are underselling the amount of people that have seen that.
I'm afraid he's my favorite from the region, and I think he's getting effed.
Well, we couldn't put the two girls up against each other. That couldn't
Cat fight.
happen. And not for nothing, Dennis Hopper in Speed was on our list, and Catwoman wasn't. Like she had to be the 16. She didn't make any list.
She's going to beat the 1 seed, though.
Oh, if you're going on based on who you would want to fuck, she might win the whole goddamn.
I don't know. Perkis is pretty good looking.
Hey, here's
a lot of misconceptions about the human abdominals.
92 Pfeiffer versus 04 McAdams. Who you got?
92 Pfeiffer against 95 Stiller?
That's not what I said.
That's what I heard, though.
I said 92
Meg
Pfeiffer.
Ryan now or Jack Nicholson 1975?
92 Pfeiffer versus 04
Pfeiffer.
McAdams.
It's Pfeiffer.
If she's in the suit.
No, even out.
Oh, I think
Think
that
of her in
changes.
the 80s. Think of Grease, too.
I think that changes. Tony Perkis is going to win this matchup.
I don't think he is. I think we screwed him, dude.
Tony Perkis is incredibly funny. And if you're talking like Catwoman is like funny because she's so outlandish. Funny like
how?
In a cage like way. Tony, you know what? Maybe we should have had one of those Goodfellas fellas on here. Now that you say that. Tony Perkis is the funniest character on this list.
The issue with Goodfellas and really all of Scorsese's movies is that the bad guys are the heroes.
They're all bad.
So,
yeah,
they're all bad.
Every character you're like, they're a bad guy.
So out of this region, I'm either going to go with Shooter McGavin or Ernie McCracken.
I think I got the Wet Bandits winning because people love Home Alone, lowest common denominator. You get 2 movies there as well. I think I have the Wet Bandits.
This is a reference for all of the Mac and Goobers who have been around since the Muffin Madness days. And I am I'm catching a whiff of the Cinnabon here from the miscellaneous region. The Cinnabon was the 13 seed, much like Mr. McCracken.
Again, I'll go to my death drawing this line in the sand, Goo. The Cinnabon has like a 4-minute window where it's great. And when it's great, it's as good as some of the best things out there. The cinnamon roll is a better version of the cinnamon bun. Like easily.
And then monkey bread is the exact same thing.
No. Monkey bread has a different consistency. It's more like the cinnamon, not the cinnamon. What am I looking for?
What is happening right now?
I'm fucking drawing a blank. What were we just talking about?
Cinnamon
roll and cinnamon bun. The monkey bread consistency is more like the cinnamon bun, where it has a small window where it's fantastic. Cinnamon roll is great for like 5 hours, and then it starts to get a little much. Cinnamon bun has 5 minutes.
All right, Mac, if I were to, I'm going to put a little pressure on you right now.
Yeah.
If I said to you right now,
yep,
who do you think the final 4 is, and who do you think is winning?
All right, so on the left side of the bracket, we get the 2 real and real SOB. I'm going to have Hans Landa facing Warden Norton, the 2 1 seeds in the final 4. I have Hans Landa winning that matchup, advancing to the championship. On the right side of the bracket, we have Comic and Fantasy and Are We Having Fun Yet? I have Thanos coming out of the Comic and Fantasy. I'm holding hope. And I actually think the lull in the MCU will prop Thanos up a little bit because we remember the good old days of 4 years ago. I have him winning that region, facing the wet/sticky bandits from Are We Having Fun Yet? And I have Thanos winning that matchup, which means in the championship, I have Hans Landa versus Thanos. And I think I have Hans Landa winning.
No, I think Thanos' popularity is going to take
You're right. If Thanos beats the Joker, the winner of that matchup might win the whole thing. I actually have faith in our viewers, though, and listeners, that they realize Hans Landa is not only the greatest villain in a movie ever, you could say he's the greatest movie character of all time.
Look, I am going off of what I believe the people are going to vote for.
Okay.
So I'm going to say Hannibal Lecter, the Joker, Warden Norton, and Ernie McCracken.
So you have Lecter versus Warden Norton, and the Joker versus Ernie McCracken.
And then it'll be Joker versus Hannibal Lecter, and then Joker's going to win.
Okay. All right. I don't think, if you're going off what the people are going to do, McCracken's for sure not going to be there.
I think McCracken is way more liked than you think.
The people that have seen the movie love the villain. Not many people have seen Kingpin.
So you believe out of that region, so do you think that, say, a Shooter McGavin has a better shot?
I think McGavin or Wet Bandits are coming out of the region. That's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Personal preference, it would be Tony Perkins or Regina George, top 2 seeds. But what do you
No,
gonna
if
do?
it's personal preference, I'm going Perkis. I'm going, I'm going to go Terrence Fletcher out of the real SOBs. I would say the Joker, and then I would say Hans Landa.
Personal preference, the other 3 regions. No, I'd have the 4 1 seeds if we're going off personal preference. If we're
That makes sense because you voted for them.
Yeah.
So head over to social media right now. We'll have those brackets out for you. Fill them out, and we will start the vote on Thursday, March
21st, I believe.
21st. There we go. We'll do 1 day per vote or 2 days.
I like to do 2 days and some crossover. So the second day you start the voting of the next matchups, you know?
Let's do 2 regions at a time because we do need to hurry this up slightly because we're going at the end of the month as opposed to the start of the month.
Okay. I don't really care how we do it. I really
Good.
don't care.
I'll just do it. I'll do whatever I want.
Yeah, that I'm more good. I'm good with that.
The fuck?
Let's get into Maxac.
And Maxac could be anything. It could be a boat. And this week, Mac, as one does, I was on Facebook Marketplace, seeing what's happening, seeing
This
what
is, I gotta say,
up to.
the oldest thing you do is peruse Facebook Marketplace.
Right. And I came across, I'm not even sure what I was looking for. And what popped up was a life-size Yoda made by Pepsi and autographed for $2,800. And what the owner of this said, or the seller said, is used like new. And I guess my first question is, who the fuck autographed this thing?
So my 2 initial thoughts on this is, number 1, the lightsaber looks like shit, which
Yes.
matters. Number 2, the photo of this thing is in the person's driveway.
Yeah.
So it seems like they literally had just picked it up and immediately listed it on Facebook Marketplace.
They just picked it up, couldn't fit it through their front door, and said, "Uh-oh, we
No.
need to get
They
rid of
walked up to it and the guy's wife was like, "Nope, absolutely not. Turn around. Absolutely not."
So in a week, when I repost this, you'll know why. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it, guys. I just have the question of who. So did Yoda autograph this? Did Pepsi autograph this? Did Randy Jackson autograph this?
It
I
does
don't
have a
know.
nice little base to it, and the colors seem pretty good. It seems well made, except for the lightsaber.
It's autographed by Star Wars. Did George Lucas do it? I don't know. Who autographed this effing thing?
Who's the voice actor for Yoda originally? I don't even know that person.
Frank Oz.
Okay, so maybe it's Frank Oz.
Ooh, Frank Oz is kind of a nice one. I wouldn't mind that because
Frank Oz alive?
Yeah, he's the voice of Fozzie.
How about that? Well, that
Yeah.
doesn't help anyone. When's the last time Fozzie was in anything?
Fozzie Bear,
Yeah, when was Fozzie Bear in anything?
Muppet Babies, a couple of years ago. Muppets Most Wanted, the Muppets from 2011. Do you want to go down the Muppets rabbit hole?
I don't. I definitely
Good,
don't.
'cause I just kind of ran out right there. That's all I had. Good thing you didn't call me out. Hey, Mac, where can the people find us?
You can find us on Twitter and on Instagram at Mac and Goo Podcast. Every other platform, we're Mac ampersand Goo. It's Mac Shift 7 Goo. That includes Facebook, Stitcher, TuneIn, Castbox, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeartRadio. We're also on Spotify, but more importantly, we're on Apple Podcasts. Get on there, rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars. If you do that, we'll get you a free t-shirt from the folks over at Watertown Sportswear. That's Watertown Sportswear, 34 Mount Auburn Street in Watertown. WatertownSportswear.com, expert screen printing and embroidery.
tpublic.com. Go buy the merch while it's still there. The TeePublic shop that has our I Think You Should Leave stuff had a shirt taken down.
Oh, which one?
One of the egg ones.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I know, but we have more egg ones. Don't worry.
It's good. It's
Got
good to hear.
plenty of eggs. We've got a dozen. I buy eggs by the 18s. How do you buy eggs?
Why do you do that?
We eat a lot of eggs.
Yeah, I go in ebbs and flows.
Eggs and flows.
Most often, though, if I buy a lot of eggs, I end up with extra eggs because I get sick by the end of the week of eating so many eggs.
Yeah, but eggs don't go bad, though.
Nah, they go bad at some point. That's
I
not
don't
true.
know about that. I don't know about that's why.
You ever look at a carton? Good.
I try not.
Don't tell me you're one of those people though that like buys a 12 and then splits a 12 in half.
Oh, let me ask you a question. Does American cheese go bad?
I'm sure it does. Yeah.
But you'll eat it until it goes green, right? Like, once
I'll
you
tell you,
see-
I never have extra cheese. Cheese gets eaten.
Mac buys the big block of cheese and just eats right through it. It's like a fucking rat.
No, I grate it into my mouth. Cheese never
American
lasts.
cheese.
You could grate American cheese
Why would you grate American cheese? It's already sliced for you.
to get it to melt easier.
Do you prefer it sliced at the deli, or do you just get the individually sliced crafts?
I prefer it sliced at the deli because I like how rigid the deli American cheese is compared
Oh,
to the
yeah.
craft slices.
I'm such a fan of American cheese. I don't know why.
It's on. People will argue it's not cheese, and you, to a certain degree, you have a point. I think it's the most versatile cheese.
I love it. I love American
too.
cheese. We're an
love it too.
American cheese podcast. If Big American Cheese wants to hop on as a sponsor, we kind of need you.
There's really nothing better than a blanket of American cheese over whatever you're eating. Doesn't matter what it is.
Steak and cheese, American
Oh,
cheese,
So good.
like
So
soup,
good.
like soup.
Love it.
Should we end the episode?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Tuesdays or Goose Days. I abuse kangaroos.
Bye.
Please flip the cassette over to side B to continue the adventure.